Hi, I'm Salmon Anderman, and I'm a reining horse trainer, but I'm also an NRHA judge. So today I'd like to talk to you about reading your score sheet after you show and get all the information out of it so you can be a better showman. The first thing is that there are 420 judges in NRHA, and every judge has to retest every 2 years. And that means every 2 years a judge is subject to losing his card if he doesn't pass the test. And NRHA is pretty proud of that program because I believe we're the only program that makes judge retest and put their card up to losing every 2 years. So know that the judge that is judging you when you're at your horse show is very well trained. Also, when you're being judged, a reining horse judge needs to look at 3 pieces of criteria that we call the hierarchy of concerns. The first thing the judge is looking at is if you're on the correct pattern. That means if you're circling left, are you circling left? Or if you're supposed to be circling right, are you circling right? Following the pattern's description or the pattern's maneuvers, and in this instance we're going to use pattern 8, and that has 7 maneuvers. The second piece of criteria is whether you're running the pattern correctly, and that means are you going fast on your fast circle, are you going slow on your slow circles, and are you going down the sides correctly when you're on your way to the rollback. Once the judge has assessed that you're on pattern and you're running your pattern correctly, then the judge can assess degree of difficulty. And degree of difficulty is how your horse is doing his maneuvers and the quality of his maneuvers. So remember that when you're starting out and you're trying to read your score sheets and learn that you need to be doing the correct pattern, then do the pattern correctly, and then you can start trying to add speed, which makes the pattern more pleasing to watch and more exciting to the audience. So let's go through pattern 8, and we'll look at the difference between penalties and maneuver scores, and then we'll look at how scores can teach us what we need to work on with our horse and to get better. What you're looking at is a score sheet that the judge uses, and his scribe marks down what the judge says about all of the rider's maneuvers. In this case, like I said, we're going to use pattern 8, and we're going to use draw number 1. So when we see here is the draw number, then the exhibitor number, and then scores and penalties. If you'll notice, the score is on the bottom line in the bigger box. That's your maneuver score for each maneuver. On the top box is penalties. There is a certain number of penalties that the judge must assess. He has no choice over. They happened or they didn't. They are listed in our rule books. For this instance, our first maneuver is going to be a left spin. Our second maneuver will be a right spin. Then we're going to do our right circle and lead change, and then left circle and lead change, and then we'll go down and do a left rollback, go around the arena, do a right rollback, and stop and back. And the scribe will write these things on top of the score sheet so you can easily see what you're being scored on each maneuver, and you can tell if you have penalties and where they existed. The end score on this one was 69.5. So the rider would maybe try to work on keeping his score. Let's say the goal is above 70. So let's look at our score sheet. If we just looked at our score and went home, we might think that our horse isn't working well and we're not doing correctly because we're still below 70, below correct. So, but if we look at our maneuvers, we have a +1/2 on 2 maneuvers. Our left spins got a +1/2 and our stop and back got a +1/2. Now we know what we don't have to work on very much. We know we're doing very good on our left spins and we're doing very good on our stop and back. So we can maybe leave those things alone a little bit and work on the other areas we're having trouble. So let's look at our right spins. The judge assessed it at a 0 with a half-point penalty. So knowing the judge's system, I would have to assume that that horse overspun by a 1/4 of a spin. This is not a difficult thing to work on at home by yourself or with your trainer on correcting your horse's shutoff in the spins. So that I would believe that you would easily be able to remove this half-point penalty. Anything in the upper box is always a negative. So that's why there's no minus or plus in front of it. So we know we have to go home and work on our shutoff, and then we can assume that maybe we can get this 0 up to a +1/2. In pattern 8, you have to do 1 big fast to the right, 1 small slow to the right, then 1 big fast to the right with a lead change. The judge is assessing the whole part of that maneuver. So he's assessing your lope departure, your big fast, your transition into your small slow, your transition up to the big fast, and also the lead change. So if you don't like your score in this box and you prefer it to be a plus half, or if you had a minus half and prefer it to be 0, go watch your run. Usually a family member will video your run for you, or the facility does it for you. But either way, go watch your run. Look at all the pieces of that maneuver and try to figure out which was a poorer quality and which was better. So let's say in this set, the horse did not transition down into a small slow as well as he should. So there's something that we can go home and work on, especially to the right. We can work on making our transition better along with keeping everything else correct and maybe even good, and then we can get this up to a plus half. Now we've changed leads and we're on our left circle and lead change, and we have to do our circles the same way. One big fast, one small slow, one big fast. This circle received a minus half, but no penalties. So let's go back and look at it. The judge is going to assess your first big fast, then assess your transition, then your small slow, then assess your second big fast, and then your lead change. So look for problem areas. Maybe your lead change wasn't smooth. Maybe you had bad pattern placement and you missed your center. Those kind of things aren't that hard to fix. So let's work on getting this minus half up to 0 by watching your run and looking for lower quality maneuvers. So now we've changed leads and we're going to go around the arena, down the side of the arena, around, go down, stop, roll back, and exit from the rollback. And the reason why I say it like that is the judge is assessing everything from after your lead change all the way around the arena, down the long side, your stop, your rollback, and your exit out of rollback. And that's like 5 things. So let's go look at it, and of those 5 things, which are good and which do we need work on? And then it won't be so overwhelming on trying to get this minus half up to 0. So now we have exited out of our left rollback, and we're going to go around the arena, go down the long side on the left side of the arena, stop, do a right rollback, and exit out of the right rollback. So we're going to look at that for any areas that we can improve on. This 0 we're pretty happy with, but if we can still work on trying to get it up to a plus half. So we're going to look at it for any areas that we believe that our horse can do better, and then move on. So now we're out of our right rollback, and we're going to go around the arena one more time, down the long side, and this time we're going to stop and then back. And so this judge liked this last stop and back and around the arena. So I would suggest that you watch this maneuver and try to make these 2 maneuvers as good as this one, because the judge liked that one and they were actually a point higher. So this run had 1 half-point penalty, so our final score is 69.5. This box right here represents the total number of penalties in this run. So for me, if I was going to tell my non-pro what to go home and work on, I would tell him to go home and work on his shutoff of his right spins, and then work on our left circles and our right circles and our lead changes. And if we would just do that, we're looking at 69.5, 70.5 instead of 69.5, actually 71. And that's a big change, and it's a big score, and that'll win you big money. So let's look at our score sheets next time. Even though we may not like to and it makes us uncomfortable, take them home and look at them and analyze them and see where it's doable to raise our score and to do a better job. It's not overwhelming when you take it piece by piece. So let's not just go home and decide the judge didn't like our horse. Let's go home and take it apart and see where the areas that we need to work on are. So if you're riding your horse at home, sometimes you can use a horse show as a check to see how your training program's going. And so you can work on your weak areas and then get better for the next show.
We created Equo, a simple and safe app that connects riders and drivers instantly. Here's how it works. It's really simple. You just sign up through the app, and you're ready for your custom ride. Equo Rush has on-demand drivers ready to make emergency travel a safe experience. Riders can schedule rides in advance with Equo Planned. And Equo Pool allows you to share rides with others for a cost-efficient trip. Next, select the destination and accept fares without having to use cash. One of our professional drivers will be notified and send a fast response for your convenience. Submit your request, and done! You're ready to Equo. All of our drivers are experienced professionals who get continuous training to handle any situation. Providing a safe, comfortable, and secure ride is our #1 priority. That's why we equip every Equo ride with step-by-step tracking and standby emergency assistance. You'll be able to get custom updates and monitor each ride directly from your phone. Welcome to the next level of equine transportation. Welcome to Equo.